Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder. And today I wanted to give you guys an update on the project that we have going on for new kingdom starts. Again, it is pretty exciting right now because there are home kingdoms that are coming out, along with what we know will be something like a king-queen system, with depending on how much involved it is, along with a couple other really nice things that are promoting what I think, at least, is bigger kingdoms rather than smaller. And so I'm really excited for the potential that the project has and wanted to give you just some information on that. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you because it helps us out a lot. So, starting with, let's go ahead and just switch some screen-a-roonies real quick. Going to at least give you guys, starting off with the announcement that we put out, I think 2 days ago on the 20th. Yeah, I can count. And I'm also going to be showing you guys the leader application and giving you just a few other kind of pieces or tidbits as we go. So the first and most important thing is that we have actually found our second lead, which is nice. So we've had, I think, 10 applicants so far since we started. Maybe more than that. I can't remember if I had refreshed and updated the lead application and then just redid it or not. And we might have had some before that. But for the version 3 of the application that we have running right now, it was that many. We've selected a second lead, thankfully, so we're basically kind of 2 out of 7, maybe 6, but for the most part, 2 out of 7 right now. And looking, obviously, for 5 more, right, we have a COD Positions channel. And, of course, you can get access to this by joining the Discord. Link to that in the pinned comment description down below. And you just have to go here to where it says COD NASTi Project, right, kind of hoping for a May-June start. And then you'll be able to go to like the start here, and it kind of gives you information on each of the channels. But if we go to the announce channel, right, that's where we have this, where you can go to get access to the leader application. As most people know, we are only really recruiting for leaders right now, even though we have almost 400 people, probably maybe 400 people now. I haven't checked it lately, but there's pretty much about 400 people that are just kind of hanging out and waiting and kind of biding their time, paying attention to updates, etc. Doesn't necessarily mean that all of those people will be joining, but it just means that all of them are potentially wanting to kind of see what happens. And then, of course, not really a lot to kind of do with recruiting unless you know some people that are interested in being leaders. Remember, this time around, we're filling in top down, not necessarily all around or bottom up. Usually, it's kind of an all around where we just allow for anyone to join, and then people can just kind of apply as they will. But this time around, even though we're allowing anyone to join, we're really putting more of an emphasis and a focus on trying to recruit from the top down. So we're going to start with leads, then we'll open it up to officers, and then we'll just let people know, hey, we're just doing full-on recruitment, so kind of come and join. And that's because at that point, hopefully we're set up and we're ready to kind of announce, hey, this is when our grand opening is going to be, if you will. And then kind of what you should do for now if you join, right? We do have a couple channels here with resources. We have some goals, examples, right, that you could take a look at channels, which kind of breaks down Kingdom Foundation goals, policy, standards, etc. Some plans that we have for kind of how we'll be starting out. Still have to add a little bit more here, but at least kind of giving you a nice entry-level piece. And then beyond that, like I said, we have the positions. We have a sign-off channel, which eventually will be opening up. I might be making some tinkerings here to the timelines, but this is just kind of a summarized version, which has been updated as well, of some of the kind of major points. We have a timeline as well. Ooh, look at that. Speaking of which, bam! Oh, no! That actually would be dope, though, if we had 12. But let's do this. A little spacer. Fantastic. And it kind of shows you where we are, right, along the timeline. So it kind of gives you an idea of where we're at. Now, to talk a little bit about the application, I do want to show that off as well. So let me go ahead and we'll just switch this up. And this is not, lengthy necessarily at all, but just to give some people some ideas. Oh, look at that. We have a new application. I have to go and take a look at that. So basically, it's just, what's your Discord name? What region are you in or closest to? What are your active times using UTC in-game time? What's your age range? Right, we ask you to kind of please watch an Alliance leader video to kind of let us know what your thoughts is. I think it's the Alliance guide video that I put out a while ago for COD specifically. And do you have any kingdom builder experience? What's your daily routine as a leader from when you first log in to log out? How do you find and manage your officers? What type of mails do you send out? And then we give kind of like 2 scenarios, and we want you to kind of like write out a response for how you would address those. And then the last section is just the project, right? Why join this project over another, right? Which project goals stand out to you for wanting to join? And then me kind of explaining that, from my position, kind of more of an R6. And I think I've talked about this before, right? It's just, again, do you have, how do you feel about that, right, with your ideas? And I think it's more so just and this is what I typically explain to people, is that, projects can really kind of run themselves however they want, right? There's a number of projects out there that vary with how their hierarchy, how their communication structure is, how their decision-making structure is. And for me, I very much like to do mine where it's, hey, let's listen to everyone and let's hear people out, whether that's suggestions, if it's feedbacks to things we put. And if everyone is aligned based on the project's goals and direction and foundation that everyone has agreed to, because keep in mind, that's actually one of the benefits about having everything laid out up front, is that you don't need to really sit here and do large decisions, right? You don't need to get everyone together and have these large scale votes or back and forth. Why? Because everything's already laid out. So it's more of, okay, do you like what this is about? If so, you would join. If you don't like everything or don't like anything at all, then you don't join. It's really that simple. Of course, there will always be points, I think, in any project's span or kingdom span where you will have moments where you might do things like water temperature votes. You may actually vote on things. An example might be, maybe we're going to vote on like what war game do we want to try out first compared to second, right? Like those are the kinds of things that, in my opinion, kind of more smaller scale things. Those are the types that you really want to kind of have more votes around. You kind of want to try and jam out or bang out the big stuff and get that out of the way, because it's less likely that you're going to have any kind of internal turmoil or discourse or, disagreements that can potentially lead to people leaving or, going rogue or starting civil wars, etc. It just allows for a higher percentage chance of that not happening. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm very transparent and public about how I aim and how I would like to build the project. And thankfully, a lot of people like that style, but then people like other styles as well. So again, it's all about finding the right fit that is for you based on what you want to join and where you want to be. And so again, if anything, I hope that this at least helps kind of give you an update to where the project is currently, and then two, how you can get involved. And again, if you want to join, like I said, right, it's even though we're not necessarily openly recruiting, if you want to join, right, there's links to the Discord in the pinned comment description down below. But really the most important aspect, as I mentioned again, is that we are looking for leaders. And that's basically where we're going to be at until we find, I would say 7 is my hope. Again, may concise with 6, but really 7 is, as I mentioned before, kind of what we're aiming at. And that's really the starting point. So once that happens, then we'll move on to the next stage. And, it is a bit different how I'm kind of going about the leader process now. The thing I think most people, just to kind of give a small history lesson here for those of you that are not familiar with jump projects or new kingdom start projects, is that oftentimes, you may notice that there's a number of projects that typically will start pretty quick, or will just start a lot sooner than probably a project like mine and maybe others, right, who are kind of doing more of the marathon compared to the sprint. And oftentimes that's because they're already coming in with a prefixed amount of leads, and sometimes this is people they know, people they have history with. It could be an alliance that did really well, and maybe they said, hey, we would really like our officer team. Let's just have them be leads. It could be a kingdom that wants to restart with 2, 3, 4 alliances, and they already have leads ready and set up to go. Maybe you're doing merges with other projects, right? Now, again, that's a little bit iffy. I could do a whole spiel on that. But there are a number of sometimes benefits to different situations with how quickly and how far along you will start off in. For me, which is why it's different, is that if I had people that wanted to be leads from previous projects that I was in, or people that I felt were like competent R4s, and I'm totally fine with giving them a shot, that can be one thing. The other side of it is that, and what usually ends up being the case, is that I'm basically recruiting people from scratch, right? So I'm vetting people from scratch, meaning that these are people that I don't know, we don't have any relationship with. They're applying because, they hopefully, right, want to be in this place compared to someone else, or are interested in being a lead. And then it's me going through and vetting their application, right? If they kind of meet my standards and expectations based on their application's strength, then, right, we move on to the next step, which is me doing setting up a voice interview with them. Sometimes that can be 30, 45 minutes, give or take. And then we'll have a conversation. And then after that, potentially a second conversation, or I'll bring someone in and maybe they'll have a second conversation with them. And then whether I let them know after my VC or after the second VC, I'll kind of let them know either way, right? Whether it's, hey, we'd love to extend an invite, or, hey, thank you so much for applying. But then, I'll tell them, hey, it's just not the right fit right now. I usually always kind of offer, if they want their application sent to them as a copy, if they have any questions about why they weren't selected, and then also giving them the opportunity to apply again later down the road. I always think it's important to kind of leave doors open and not necessarily close all doors, at least hopefully in most cases. And again, if anyone always has any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me on Discord, right? slide right in, hop into you boys' DMs. As most people know, I am pretty available when I'm able to be. And whether that's hanging out in the COD Discord VC, if that's you, shoot me a DM here, message me in-game on my main. Right, I like to try and be as engaged with the community as possible. So yeah, hopefully that is a good kind of summary of where we're at, and again, what we're looking for. So that's gonna do it for me. As always, until next time, I'll catch y'all later.